And I'm now joined here in Shamrock Park, the home of the famous Ballyhale Shamrocks, with Fianna Councillor for Callan Thomastown electorate area, Joe Sheridan. Joe, you're very welcome to the Irish Political Roundup.
Thank you very much, Paul. Delighted to be here.
Joe, you were elected to the county council back in June of last year. What have been kind of the big issues that have been coming up in your locality? Of course, Ballyhale would be part of your electoral area as well.
I suppose, first of all, I was elected, the big thing was school buses.
Yes.
Because that was the time things were kicking off, whether people are going to get their kids on the school bus or not. That was the first thing. I suppose the second thing in the locality would be the roads, really, safety in the roads, speed, pedestrian safety, all that kind of stuff. That comes up nearly in everywhere, like from Danesfort, Cuffs right down to Ballyhale and then on further. And I suppose the third thing would have been probably public transport as well for rural villages. And let me see what else. I suppose breathing new life into the rural villages. That's a big one. I think people they hate to see these vacant properties in and around their villages. So we need to breathe more life into them. That'll be 4 of them. And let me see. Ginny, I'm kind of lost now. Yeah. There's so many of them. There has been quite a few.
And the county council, I'm sure you were a community activist for many years, and you would have been aware of some of the things that to do. But I suppose now that you're in there as a councillor, the scope of what Kilkenny County Council covers, and I'm sure there's a lot happening in your electoral area of Callan Thomastown.
There is huge. And look, I think we're blessed. I've said this loads of times. I think Kilkenny County Council, there's a great relationship between the county councillors and the staff in Kilkenny County Council, and that makes it, I think, so much easier. It's great. So look, there is loads of issues out there, and we work well with the staff and the directors in Kilkenny County Council. Now, look, it's not everything that can be done, and I suppose it's somebody like myself that's only in there for the last 8 months or so. There's a lot of things you'd like to get done, but there's a big cost there, and there's only so much money in the pot. So sometimes you can't get them done. It might be you might have to wait a couple of years to get stuff over the line. But so far, I'm happy that there's a lot of the stuff that I, have looked for and fought for. Yeah. A lot of them has been done, and I'm delighted with that.
That's brilliant. And you mentioned rural transport there, just at the top of the interview. Very, very important issue for people living in rural villages like here in Ballyhale. And there's a new bus service that has started in the last couple of weeks, and it's great that there's a bus service going from Fiddown in South Kilkenny all the way into Kilkenny City. Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. Delighted. That is something that I suppose I've been kind of looking for from the time I was kind of chair of the Kells Development Group. We were looking for public transport, so this is something that's happening. We're working on for the last couple of years, and but look, thank God we have it. It's the 891 bus route. There was issues at the beginning. There's no question about it. In the timings of it, but that is quite good now. I used it myself the other night coming home from Kilkenny.
Really?
Yeah, and I was delighted. I came home and I got the 10:20 one. I got it there in Ormond Road, and it was literally 1 minute late. That's all. Okay. It was 1 minute late. Got on it, and I was delighted to see people got off in Stoneyford, Kells. And then on from there, I don't know. I know that I was talking to somebody that was getting off in Donegal, and I was talking to 2 guys that were going to Tullahock. So look, it's fantastic. There is still a few items that I'd like to improve on it.
Such as?
I'd like to see another stop I'd like to see 2 extra stops at least. I'd like to see a stop at Lochboy, where it's a good shop and run, because it's great for people that are able people that can get off a bus and go around. But for somebody that's elderly and wants to go do a bit of shopping, if they want to go to Lochboy, Aldi, Lidl, Lochboy or whatever, and they have 2 shopping bags, I think it's a bit unfair for them to walk back up Darman Street with a lot of shopping.
That's a very fair point. Yeah.
And together with the point that you have the watershed there, you have Abbott, you have so many other things. So I'd like that to be maybe altered. And I have the general manager of the coordination unit for the transport. I have a very good relationship with him, and he's a really, really good guy. And so I'm working with him on that, and we'll see, can we make a few changes. And I suppose the other thing is, unfortunately, back to the bus thing for the kids again. That is a huge issue, and I fear it already because I'm getting calls already in connection with it. Unfortunately, you are guaranteed a bus to your school, but it's to your nearest school. Now, in around my area, like if you take in a snag, there's people there that might be 10.7 miles from Kilkenny, and there might be 10.2 kilometres from Ballyhale.
Yeah.
So technically, it's not their closest school. So they don't have a bus route. So the bus is there; it stops at that. But unfortunately, the return bus home from Kilkenny in the evening either goes at like the 3:20 or 10 to 7. So if we could get an additional bus route or change the bus route so it could leave Kilkenny at around the 4:30 time, then it would be fantastic, because it would pick up all them kids that cannot avail of the bus in the likes of Innisnag, Stoneyford, Danesfort, Kells, Dunnamaggin, Kilmagany area.
Exactly, and Roisin and I were up in the Dáil there during the week, and school transport did really come up. It was a really big issue. You should be able to go to your local school, but because of with the way the buses are operated and the criteria the department uses, people and young children and young teenagers are missing out.
They are indeed. Now, I can understand you cannot have a bus service there to cater for kids for wherever they want to go to school. I do understand that, but it is a difficult one, because take for instance my own nephew.
Yeah.
He applied for Ballyhale or for Callan and Kilkenny. Now Callan was full. He actually didn't get into Callan, right? And he's going to Kilkenny. But Callan is his closest school, and he didn't get a bus. So it is very difficult, and like every councillor, every TD dreads that time of the year when these bus routes come. So something has to be done. But all I see is that if we are, I do realise this Transport for Ireland for these additional bus routes, this like the 891.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it's not designed to cater for the schools, but however, if a bus route is there, we may as well avail of it for everyone if possible.
Absolutely, and roads is also a big issue. Not just the state of them, but the speed at which people are travelling on them. Unfortunately, and I know I'd say that as you said, the engineers must be blue in the face with you talking about the N10 there on the main motorway there as to there at Danesfort. That's something that really needs to be looked at.
It does, and I think I think inside in the council that they're probably sick of me mentioning this one about 7 houses and Danesfort, and I do really realise how dangerous that is, because I travel that, a couple of times every day, and my own sister and her daughter, lucky they weren't killed there a couple of years at the 7 houses cross. So it is a very dangerous cross. I'm delighted to say though that we have got an allocation of money for 7 houses. It's not massive money. It's around €7,000 is going to be spent in the coming weeks. So that's going to be for additional kind of markings on the road, for rumble strips, for signage and so forth. For some reason, we've crossroads all over the country. All over the country, there are crossroads like this. But for some bizarre reason, this one, and every time I bring it up, the engineers say, look, we have crossroads like this. But I suppose the proof is in the facts that there's so many accidents on this road.
Exactly.
And that's where I go back to the whole time. So something has to be done. So thankfully something is going to be done there. And I've also spoke to the engineer about Bamford Cross as well. And of course the one in Danesfort. Danesfort, of course, it really, that's kind of transport infrastructure Ireland.
Exactly.
So but again,
and they can be very slow to move on anything.
They can be very slow to move on it, but I do understand it is a dangerous stretch of road, a very dangerous stretch of road, and in the mornings, if you're going up there in the mornings, there can be a big backlog of traffic, together with the fact that the Danesfort GAA Club, which is an amazing new building, but we are going to have an increase of traffic going in and out of there hugely, and they're going to get a lot more matches and whatever else. So the potential for more accidents there is going to grow. Now, thankfully, the speed limits, some people might give out about speed limits reduced, but if it means that we're going to save lives on the road, I think it's worth it. So the speed limit currently from Kilkenny out there on that road, that national road, is 100 kilometres an hour. And then from there, from the roundabout onto Innisnag, it's 80. But this will be reduced. So I suppose for a start, the speed limit is going to reduce on that road, reduce to 80 kilometres an hour. And that will help. That will help somewhat. But again, we are, not just me as a councillor, but Kilkenny County Council are doing whatever they can to see that if additional measures can be put there.
Yeah, exactly. And we're here in Ballyhale, which of course is famous for the Ballyhale Shamrocks. They were founded in 1970, and they've had incredible success since then. I think it was a merger of three teams. But there's also some great things happening here in the village. The Billy's Tea Room is a massive success, and up the road in Stoneyford you have Malzer's Pub, whose Fred is your brother-in-law. His one pub of the year. So they're real two examples of good community enterprises, and they're great for tourism as well.
They are absolutely. Now, unfortunately, Billy's Tea Room is actually closed at the moment.
Okay.
That closed just COVID. There was a public meeting there in the hall there maybe around 3 weeks ago, and I was at that. Okay. And look, the hopes are the community are after coming together. So hopefully that Billy's Tea Room will open again shortly. Whatever can be done will be done. And I think it's very, very necessary for people, because it's some people go to the tea room, they're only sitting down to have a cup of tea, but it is a gathering place. It's a place for people to chat and talk, and I think it's very important. And in Stoneyford, as well as Fred has the pub and that, but then you do have the cafe across the road, and they have a community centre over there, which is flying. It absolutely flying. Yeah. It's going from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the night. It's very, very important. Yeah.
And of course we talk about Billy's Tea Room. The model was the community cafe in Winegap, which is going from strength to strength, and it's getting great visitors, a lot of cyclists that way. So there are examples throughout Kilkenny where these community enterprises, they can work really, really well.
They can. Winegap is fantastic. It's an amazing centre up there. They have a great community. The cafe up there is top class. The food is just excellent up there. When I was canvassing up there, I was always looking forward to eating up in the cafe up in Winegap, because it was brilliant. Yeah, it's going really, really well. Yeah, and there's a great community up in Winegap, but it's after bringing the whole community together. So hopefully, if Billy's Tea Rooms opens again, it'll be a fantastic benefit to the area here.
And your colleague Peter Chapclear, he's been very busy since he was elected to the Dáil there back in November there last year. He has his office in Graignamanagh open, and his office in Kilkenny City and Mullinavat are close to opening as well. So from your point of view as a councillor, it must be really great to have a TD that you can link into, because there's certain things that as a councillor your hands are tied, and you do need a TD to push it on for you.
Oh, you do, big time. Yeah, 100%. Chap has opened up the office. He has one in He'll have an office in Graignamanagh and Mullinavat, and the main one then inside in Patrick Street in Kilkenny. It's beside where Larkin's Chip, or just over from there. I suppose that's the most noticeable spot there.
Yeah, the landmark.
The landmark in Patrick Street. But yeah, he'll have that, and that'll be open in the next 2 weeks or so.
Brilliant.
That'll be fantastic. It'll be ideal for me as well, only in the end of the Kells Road, so it'll be close, so he'll see a lot of me when I go in there, but he has been very busy, extremely busy. But look, I think Chap, I suppose, he been a councillor for so long as he was, he knew what the issues was on the ground, and in the villages and the rural villages before he became a TD. And I think that's a huge benefit to anyone. We're going up to the Dáil.
Like taking it to the next level now.
It is, yeah, because he understands the issues that's out there, and I think you do need to know that when you go up there, And
of course, your colleague, Councillor Jenny Slattery, will be working in the office in Mullinavat, which will be a great assistance to Chap and also to yourself. And I must say, Jenny's been fantastic, as she's been part of our roadshow where we're covering the 4 Ds of learning difficulties. And of course, Jenny herself is an SNA, so it's great to have people like that in Kilkenny County Council and working for our TDs that are very much grassroots and very much aware of what's happening on the ground.
She is, yeah. I think Jenny is great. She's full of energy, and she does work really, really hard, hard. So she'll be great. She'll be great for Chap. She'll be great for everyone. 100%, yeah. And then she has the former councillor, of course, Matt Doran. Matt is also going to be in there, so that's a big benefit, because to be honest with you, the workload is big. Like yesterday, for instance, all day yesterday, it was just full on all day yesterday with stuff. So I suppose as a councillor, as it's, unless you're going to, if you're retired full time, you're not going to live off it. Yeah. So you have to do your own thing as well. So having that office in there, having the likes of Chap, Matt, Jenny, and all these people here. Of course, it takes a huge workload off you, and it helps you as well. And there's a lot of, like, for me in there's a lot of learning still to be done. People come to you with stuff and they expect you to know everything. You know, I'd be the first person in the world. I don't, but if I don't, I'll check it out. Yeah,
exactly. And you're from Kells yourself.
Yeah.
You had a great fundraiser there for the community hub in the Castle Lynch venue, which some people call it as a car, known for the car boot. Car boot sale. You had over 600 tickets sold, and many different fights taking place. And CJ Delaney and Owen Doyle, they take huge credit for what turned out to be a fantastic night.
Yeah, it was incredible. Sure, look, we're fundraising for a community hub in Kells, which is badly needed, not just for Kells, for the community villages. But we had to think outside the box and try to do a bit more fundraising. So I feel huge credit to CJ Delaney. It was his brainchild, and he done like majority of the work on it. He pulled the whole team in together, and it was amazing. I was at the meetings when things were being organised, but I have to say, last night when I went in there, I was blown away with how professionally the whole thing was carried out. There was 32 fighters, 16 fights, obviously. There was the whole setup was very professional. The ring, the ref, the judges, the timekeepers, the medical staff, the prep team. It was amazing, and huge crowd, and they had a bar there, and they had food there, and the DJ, and it was an amazing night, and Ray's probably, I don't know what the figure is totally, but they're talking about in around 14 or 15,000.
That's fantastic.
And not just that, but I think for Kells, for a small village, to continue to raise money, it's great to maybe go outside, think outside the box. So you're pulling in money from outside of the village for the community. So it was fantastic. And if I can mention, like when you talk about CJ Lenny, all the work about him, but so many sponsors as well give money towards it. And the boxers themselves, 32 of them, they were training there for 8 or 9 weeks. They put huge in, and each one of them raised funding themselves, for their coaching. So I credit to them all, you know what I mean? But it was brilliant. It was absolute, and it ran brilliantly. And Michael Power inside in the Castle Lynch venue, top class. I mean, I have to give them huge credit. The facility was laid on, and they could not have done enough for us. Even today, we're back into there taking out the chairs, and they were still there helping out and with us, fantastic.
That's the one thing I kind of find very interesting, and have a lot of time for. You're a community activist before you got elected, and you're still a community activist. And I think having community activists kind of at the heart of local government, I think is so important, because they know what's happening, they know what the needs are, and they know what can be done. So Joe, thanks a million for taking the time to chat with us here.
Thanks a million
on the Irish Political Roundup, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.